Hey, I'm Bryan Turner, and this is my 1972 Grumman Traveller.
834 Grumman Travellers were produced from 1971 until production ceased in 1975. The Grumman Traveller, Cheetah, and Tiger are all basically the same fuselage, although with improvements made on each evolution. The Traveller is a very economical 4-seat airplane, about 115 knots, burning 8 gallons an hour. In this video, we take the airplane up in the air and have a flap failure on landing. I'll be filming in the Denver area April 11th through the 16th. If you'd like to have your airplane featured, send me an email. So let's talk to Bryan and learn more about his run-in with the FAA.
So this is a 1972 Grumman Traveller. Generally 3 4-seater Grummans that you'll see commonly. There's the Traveller, the Cheetah, and the Tiger. The Traveller and the Cheetah are very similar in that they both have the Lycoming 320 engine. The Tiger has the 180. So I knew I wanted a Grumman because I was looking to get a personal aircraft, and a friend of mine named Mike Babin offered to take me for a ride in his Tiger. It was about 102 degrees outside, and we took off and he opened the canopy, and immediately I was sold. I live in Texas, it's hot, the taxiways are miserable, and so having that option, right away I started researching Grummans. I was looking at Cheetahs and Tigers, and never even occurred to me to look at a Traveller because I had been thinking they were 2-seaters. And a friend of mine sent me an ad. I got on a forum and I asked a friend, I said, hey, there's this plane in Connecticut, can you go take a look at it? And he said, yeah, I'll go take a look. He called me that night and he's like, if you don't buy this plane, I'm gonna buy this plane. He said, he goes, it's beautiful. He said, it looks very, very clean. The owner's a mechanic, A&P and IA, all that kind of stuff. And so got a plane ticket to Connecticut. And of course, the day I get up there, ceilings are like 200 feet. And so the guy and I go look at this plane, and I'm right away, it's just a beautiful aircraft. It's got a custom paint job. There's not another one that looks like it. And I love the way it looked, but because of the weather, we didn't get to fly it. So I found a random mechanic in the area and asked him to go up to the airport that this was at and basically inspect it, and the mechanic said, you need to buy this plane. He said kind of the same thing. He's like, I'm not in the market, but if I was, I'd buy the plane. And so I flew it I bought it having never flown it. And I called the guy and I said, yeah, I want to come up there and come get the plane. And he said, well, if you want, I'll just have my son fly it down to you. And I was like, well, that's one less variable I got to worry about. There's a lot of potential weather between here and Connecticut, and I'm not instrument rated. And so set out at the airport, and the plane landed, and I hopped in and we went for a flight. And whatever my next plane is, probably going to be a Tiger. I absolutely love the Grumman plane. This is such a fun plane to fly. It's a joy. I absolutely love it. So it's got a Lycoming 320, and I would say most of these 320s you'll find have the high compression pistons, which they call it 160 horsepower. They've actually just made it 150 at a lower RPM, but you say it's 160 horsepower and you feel better. I cruise around 110, 115 knots. It's not a very fast plane. If I had to, one drawback to this aircraft is just that it's not very fast. And so especially coming from having flown a Cirrus for the last 3 years, I get over my first world problem complaining that my plane's too slow, but that's the only drawback. I've done 2 really long cross countries, one to Kentucky and one to Oshkosh, and I average the fuel burnout. I'm burning 7.6 gallons on average per hour. And it's interesting, this Traveller's a 72, the tanks are 18.5 gallons a piece, so you're looking at 37 gallons, but it's a little over 4.5 hours, so you actually can cover quite a distance in it. So the useful load on this plane is 860 pounds, and it's kind of interesting. The Cheetahs have, for the most part, had a lower useful load. I was kind of surprised the Traveller has a higher useful load. So I have 2 small kids, and so me and my wife and both kids and a couple of small bags will fly to San Antonio, or do little, hour and a half, 2-hour flights around so it can carry us. When the kids get high school age, we'll probably need to get the Tiger with a little bit more useful load and speed to make me a little happier. Okay, so my YouTube channel is called Just Plain Silly. It's a complete satire, just a channel that I just kind of crack jokes and make fun of pilots and aviation, because when I got into flying, I was like this child with this, oh my God, this is gonna be the most fun thing in the world, and I can't wait to be a pilot, and I'm gonna be around all these just people who are following this amazing childhood dream. And then I kind of found myself in the sea of arrogance. I was getting picked on quite a bit as a Cirrus pilot, and so I started making some videos just to make fun of Cirrus pilots, because everybody was, but I did it in a complete slapstick way. Now I have it, and so I've got just a queue of videos, and it dominates way too much of my free time, but I have so much fun, and I've met so many different people. Went to Oshkosh last year, and you know, is the neatest thing. Have people come up to you and go, hey, you know, I watched your video on airspace and helped me pass my written, or you know, this thing you did was funny. It's neat to have that sort of connection with people. So I get a kick out of it, and I hope it continues to grow. So my whole thing is I'm out there looking for punchlines. I'm not teaching people to fly. I'm not trying to show you an hour-long video of me doing cross-country flights. It is more about funny than about aviation. It just happens to be what I'm involved in. But so kind of anywhere I'm at online, I'm being sarcastic and making jokes, and nowadays people pretty much know that. When they come across me online, they know. So I had posted last year, or someone else had posted, that they were looking for a CFI, and I joked that I'd be happy to do it, but it wouldn't be legal because I'm not certified. And someone decided to take a screenshot of that comment and send it to the FAA, and so I found myself sitting in the FSDO defending myself against a claim that I had received compensation for teaching someone to fly. And I went into it with a real positive attitude from the standpoint that I'm going to learn how the FSDO works. So I did. I got to sit down with these guys, and I spent probably an hour interviewing them. You know, what action can you take against a pilot? Are you out to get us? All these things. And you know, people said, don't hand them anything because they'll keep it. And I asked them all these kind of things that sounded mythish, and they were all mythish. They're like, we're not going to take your logbook or your license. We're not out to get you. Their whole thing is they're trying to help people who've screwed up get back into flying. So it was interesting from that. The only thing that kind of agitated me was that somebody would see a comment and go to that, you know, say, oh, I'm going to go turn this guy in. And I don't know if it was someone who really didn't understand and thought maybe this guy's teaching and, you know, we should put a stop to it, or if it was someone who thinks I'm a jerk and wanted to be mean. But I did talk to the FSDO because I didn't understand why they wanted to investigate a screenshot of a Facebook post. And he said, basically, if it comes across our desk, we have to investigate it. And I understand that, because it's that thing where if I had been out teaching and I'd gotten someone had gotten hurt and they had it in their hands and they didn't investigate it, now they're in the hot seat. So I completely get it. And I enjoyed it. I email the guys regularly that I spoke to at the FSDO, and I made the video about getting busted by the FAA, and actually sent it to the guy who I interviewed, and his response was so great. He said, I'm glad you found something positive in your experience. If you need more material, feel free to call us. So I have a pretty good rapport with them now. I email them when I have questions and stuff. So if anyone who's a pilot ever hears things that sound far-fetched, or, you know, don't give them your cert, don't go visit them, or any of this kind of macho pilot stuff, the FSDO is, from my experience, my one experience, it was great to deal with. They're there to help. And I would have no issue calling them up if I had a question or a concern, or even if I think I'd done something wrong. Like they're very great. So my take on it. There are probably other people who have horror stories, I don't know, but my story was great. I learned more about it. And in hindsight, I'm glad it happened.
Anything else, sir?
That's all I got.
All right, well, let's go fly then.
Let's go fly. Hey, Pop.
All right, mixture's rich, fuel pump on, everything looks good. And this airport is very complicated to taxi at for me. I've only been here once before and I got so lost, so...
I was here 5 years, so
okay.
It's a pretty long taxi mirror. You go out that way and you turn left on Alpha all the way down.
Yeah, first time I came here I had to land on the far runway 1735. Beach ground, Grumman 897 Juliet Bravo is at Texas Jet, ready to taxi with the numbers.
I'm sorry, last aircraft line, say again?
Yeah, Beach ground, Grumman 897 Juliet Bravo, I'm on Echo at Texas Jet, ready to taxi, and I have information, Charlie.
Grumman 897 Juliet Bravo, meet you on ground, runway 34, taxi via Echo Alpha.
34 via Echo Alpha, 7 Juliet Bravo.
They're doing a lot of construction.
Yeah, so when it's 100 some odd degrees outside,
oh yeah,
even just that, I mean, it's 3 inches, 4 inches.
Oh yeah.
And so it's nice, you're not sweating.
Amazing how much, like, back in the day, they wanted to make these things look like cars on the inside of the dashes, you know?
The ashtray,
yeah,
and the cigarette lighter was there when I bought it. I know there's 2 ashtrays in this plane, like, people used to smoke.
Oh yeah, oh man, they just sit here and chain smoke while you're, oh god.
I can't fathom that.
You just smogging up your cockpit,
I'm sure this used to be white.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that used to be white and it's all smoke.
Beecham Tower, Grumman 897 Juliet Bravo is ready for departure on 34. Let me go before the jet.
And that was 797 Juliet Bravo.
897 Juliet Bravo.
897 Juliet Bravo, stand by. Airshare 647, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Takeoff, Airshare 647, runway 34.
You know, the jets, we're calling ready.
I know, back there.
Yeah. Hey, I don't fly jets anymore.
There you go, the guy who had this plane before me.
You got a stereo in it. Nice. And it even cuts out when you start talking.
Yep.
There you go.
That's all right, YouTube's going to demonetize
Yeah.
it.
That's about all that we can put on there. No way.
897 Juliet Bravo, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
34, clear to takeoff. This is VFR departure to the northwest.
Left turn approved.
All right, mixture's rich, fuel pump on, flaps are set, trim is set, everything looks good, we've got the runway.
Airshare 647, contact regional departure, see ya.
Airshare 647, switch it. All right, ready to go?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's go flying. Full power. Heels to the floor.
It's not bad. It puts you back a little bit.
Make sure to talk with this Cessna 1507 Echo.
60.
1507 Echo, beach tower.
Return runway 34 for northwest departure.
Yeah, it's nice and smooth here.
1507 Echo, runway 34, clear for takeoff, northwest approved.
That's my piloting.
Check here for takeoff, northwest approved 07 Echo.
It's really bumpy out there, I'm just good.
Right. You're just anticipating the bumps.
Oh, yeah.
That should be your next next YouTube video, satire. So you take the kid. How the kids like flying in this?
My daughter loves it, my son would rather drive.
Really? Why is that?
He's not crazy about flying, makes me a little bit sad. Just because
He's nervous about it, or he just doesn't like the noise, or how old is he?
my son's 11, and he doesn't mind it, but a lot of times I'll say, hey, let's go fly down to Austin or something. His answer's always like, well, can we drive? And I'm like, no. But my daughter, she gets in and she wants to steep turn and stall and do all these things. My son, he would fly if we never had to turn. He's not terrified or anything. It's just not his preference.
Yeah, it's weird. Some kids are all about it, some are not. I've talked to a lot of people now flying, and some of them just love it, some of them don't care, and some of them don't want to do it.
Obviously.
Juliet Bravo, remain clear of Navy's class Delta, frequency change approved.
All right, well, we'll stay clear of Navy's class Delta and change the frequencies. Thank you. Yes, we're doing about 110 knots.
Yeah.
About 105 right now. We're climbing a little bit, so it's not, again, not a speed demon, but it got me.
Well, you have 4 people, 7.5 gallons an hour. If you're going, if you're going a couple hundred miles, you're probably twice as fast as driving, or more.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Correction, what was the call time?
If you got a 4-hour drive, if you got a 4-hour drive, you're doing it in an hour and a half.
Yeah, and so we're doing
637.
next month we're doing a flying in Kentucky, and I did that last year, and that was 4.5 hours. And then I'm going to northern Michigan to a flying called 6 Yankee Niner, and that's up there. It's north of the most southern portion of the Canadian border, so that'll probably be 8 hours.
That northern Michigan is, especially in the summertime, is real pretty.
It's beautiful. Flying in, it's funny as you go. I've spent most of my time in Texas, especially flying. It's so funny just to watch the terrain change as you get into the middle and then you get up to the northern part. Suddenly, we were in the fall. It's the most beautiful trees, all changing colors, and until you start to land, you don't get an appreciation for how tall they are.
Yeah, 6-4 Bravo, meet your traveling
hours. If I just turn the radio down, remind me that I've turned it down, and I don't have a broken radio when we get back in.
Yeah.
You want to fly?
Why not?
All right, you got flight controls.
I got controls. That's pretty responsive.
Yeah.
So how often do you actually fly this thing?
I try to fly a minimum of 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
Just because it's not as bad early on when I flew. I would notice if I went any 2, maybe 3 weeks without flying, I would start to get a little apprehensive. Now I don't have that as much.
Right.
But I feel like you start to lose some of that muscle memory with the radio calls and some of the stuff that's kind of reflexes, I guess.
Well, you do, and when I first started doing this channel, I hadn't flown an airplane in over 2 years, and so I was definitely behind on things like radio calls and where we were and doing all that stuff. But after a couple of flights and I kind of got back in the swing of things, I picked it back up and I feel a lot more aware of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's nice.
It's fun, and it's not too bad. I mean, it's, you know, I'm not uncomfortable. You know, I trained in a 172, which I think is like 3 or 4 inches more narrow. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But I know me and my instructor were definitely shoulder to shoulder, and you know, this isn't that bad. It's not huge.
And it's got a good amount of leg room.
And the back seats. One of the drawbacks to this aircraft, now there's 2 cons. One, of course, I wish it was faster. It doesn't have a baggage compartment. It has a compartment, but it doesn't have exterior access to it.
Oh, really?
So when we put suitcases in there, the back seats have to come out, the suitcases go in, and then the back seats go back in.
Right.
So, not a big deal, and it's certainly a first world problem, but when you land and the guy's trying to help you get stuff into the rent-a-car at your destination, you're like, hold on, let me take the seats out.
Yeah. All right, is there anything you want to show in the airplane or do anything with it?
Man, I can't think of anything.
All right. Well,
I wish I could just, it's gonna be cold, but.
Oh. That's cool.
So
you can just, it'll stay like that?
Well, actually, I have a bar in here that I put, because if you watch,
It'll start closing?
so.
Oh, wow.
Usually if I, you gotta keep the rails greased. But over about a minute and a half, it'll close. And it's kind of counterintuitive. You would think the wind would blow it open, but the wind goes over the back and
It sucks it back in?
it does.
That's cool, though. I mean, yeah, in a hot day, it's nice.
You get an appreciation for how fast you're going.
Yeah. Cool. That's a cool shot over there from that camera, probably. Yeah.
All right, we'll do a kind of a steep turn around to the right and see if this left
All right.
camera gets a shot of the leg.
Lakes are definitely full.
Yeah. Beach Tower, Grumman 897, Julia Bravo.
Grumman 897, Julia Bravo, Medium Tower.
All right, 6 miles north-northwest, 2,200 inbound, full stop.
Grumman 897, Julia Bravo, report left midfield downwind, 3-4.
Report left midfield downwind for 3-4, 7 Julia Bravo. Yeah, I really enjoy this plane. It was such a weird thing buying a plane, having not flown it, and just going, man, you know, I can always sell it, but...
Well, I mean, that's a good thing about, you know, older aircraft, is if anything, they're going to appreciate.
Yeah, that's how I convinced the wife that we needed to buy a plane. Like, it's a depreciated asset, honey.
Yeah.
Like, we can always sell it. Like,
Yeah.
no, we can't. But then, now that we have a plane, we can't sell it. We have to be plane owners now.
Right.
So.
Well, it's so convenient. I mean, you know, you want to go down to Houston for the weekend, okay, it's a 4-hour drive or an hour-and-a-half flight, or wherever you want to go, you want to do, it's just so nice. It's easy to take vacations in it.
Yeah. And we discovered a lot of lunch spots. Like, there's a lot of places in Georgetown and Austin where for us it's a 50-minute flight, and so we'll go to brunch or whatever down there. Just, it opens up so many more, I guess, possibilities, opportunities to just enjoy life.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, people don't realize it. You know, you can buy a halfway decent airplane for $35,000.
I paid $37,000 for this.
Yeah, $37,000 for this 4-seat airplane that'll get you around anywhere you want to go,
Yep.
and it costs you, I don't know, you're probably $60, $70 an hour all in.
I've done the math. I can figure it out, and I'm happy to send it to you. I do my annual. This last annual I had a lot of squawks, so it was $2,800. But my mechanic said base price for the annual on this plane is $800.
Yeah.
I changed my own fuel, so there's really no labor cost there.
Oil, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I changed my fuel and my oil. It turns out.
Yeah.
Thank you. I changed my fuel. They don't charge me.
Right.
You know, I've had. The hard part is when stuff comes up. I had a fuel tank that leaked. This plane is very susceptible to fuel tank leaks, and it was about $1,500.
Yeah.
All in. Very, very tough to get it fixed.
So what most people do for the viewers there, most people is, you know, you got your fuel cost per hour, then you set aside maintenance cost per hour. So it might be $100 an hour, which should cover all your maintenance and your fuel and all that stuff.
And my hangar, I pay $150 a month for an open T hangar. My insurance is $600 a year, so it's actually half the price to insure this as it is my car.
Yeah.
Because I don't use it as much.
Yeah.
I think that's why. Grumman 7 Juliet Bravo is downwind 3-4.
Grumman 7 Juliet Bravo, runway 34, wind 2706, clear to land.
All right, clear to land 3-4, 7 Juliet Bravo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're...
All right, flaps coming down. have a flap failure.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Electric flaps are not working?
They are electric and they are not working.
Well, good thing you practice your no flaps landings.
Yeah.
You know, that's generally not, but you just land a little faster.
Yep. Not a big deal at all.
Huh. Breakers here or anything?
No, I think so. I've had a couple of issues with the flat motor. I think I need to get that motor replaced. All right, well, it's going to look like a bad landing. But given the disaster that we're currently having to deal with. All right, we'll do without. Nudge, nudge. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's one thing you practice when you're for your private pilot stuff too, is no flap landings and stuff. So, because it does happen.
Yep. Yeah, stuff like that. So, like, that's something that's going to cost money, obviously, to get the motor repaired. So, there's always things. I always say having a plane's like a house. There's always something to repair on it.
Yep, that's true.
All right, so probably coming a little flatter. You're gonna title this one, Lucky to be alive.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, it's floating.
Well, right on the center line.
Not
yeah,
bad.
Floats a little with no flaps. Oh, good job.
Thank you.
And there you go, folks. That is a no flap landing.
Involuntary.
Yeah, right. Well, hey.
7 Juliet Bravo, where you parking?
Texas Jet.
7 Juliet Bravo, you can roll out down to Alpha 3, taxi to Park Alpha Echo, monitor ground point 9, have a great day.
All right, Alpha 3, Alpha to Echo, monitor ground, 7 Juliet Bravo.
All right, Brian, thanks again.
All right, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for having me back.
That's 2 airplanes now, so appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to get a third one so we can keep doing this.
Yeah, you are. All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Well, thanks for watching another episode of Flying Doodles. Appreciate you liking and subscribing if you would please. That really helps out. And if you're really enjoying it, Patreon. It's kind of like a voluntary subscription thing. Like you could subscribe for about $1 a month, get you a little bit extra content, stuff like that. But it's patreon.com/flyingdoodles. That's how we kind of fund this whole thing because the YouTube revenue is not that great. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. And if you want to go fly together, it's Bobby at sailingdoodles.com. Sailing Doodles is my other channel. And let's go fly sometime.